Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 1 of Castlevania Nocturne. So this is the new Castlevania series. If you haven't seen my reactions to the previous one, I would definitely suggest checking that out. Um, all I know about this new one is that it is a semi-sequel series to the other one, that it focuses on Richter Belmont instead of Trevor, and that's pretty much it. I saw like one trailer, but I don't remember anything else from it. All I remember is that Richter's name was like said in the trailer, and like I don't even like remember like any direct images from it. It's just I don't know. It just didn't stick with me as well as you would think. But that's actually kind of a good thing here because that means I get to go in as blind as possible. Now, the first series that they did, centering around Trevor and everything, had a very notable, um, like kind of power rise. You know what I mean? Like you start off with Dracula as the main villain, you go to Carmilla, and then you kind of end off with Death. And it's like, which is really interesting because in the games, Death is a mini boss for Dracula. But it makes more sense, actually. Not just in the series, but in general, for Death to be a higher being because it's, fucking Death. And Dracula is actually the weakest and the first one to go. Dracula's story also felt kind of wrapped up. I don't see what else they could do with Dracula going forward, which is interesting because Dracula is the main villain of all the Castlevania series. Certain games may not feature him as much, of course, but still, what is this going to mean for for this series? Is there just not going to be Dracula? They're going to have completely separate villains? I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm just interested to see where they go, where they take it. Um, one other thing I do know is this takes place like decades and everything, a long, long time into the future. I don't know exactly how many years, but long, long time, hundreds of years, maybe even. Um, so that's going to cause a lot of things to obviously look and feel different. Um, Obviously, Trevor and Sypha and characters like that won't be around. Alucard might. I don't know how. I'm not 100% on how he works. A lot of you are probably thinking like, "Oh no, Alucard's not immortal," or some of you might think he is. I don't know. I don't know if he's immortal or not, really, because he's only a half vampire. I don't know exactly how like the immortality aspect works with him. Um, again, I'm interested to find out though. I am very interested to see what everything ends up being like. I'm also just interested to see like how different Richter is because I expect him to be different than Trevor. Trevor was kind of like an asshole with a heart of gold who took some getting used to and everything. A drunkard, a loser, not the best personality at first, but he bettered himself. Partially thanks to Sypha, mostly thanks to Sypha. Um, I'm wondering how different Richter's gonna be, because again, I'm not super familiar with the games like a lot of other people are. I've played a couple of them here and there, but I'll be honest, like I could not tell you much of anything about them. I know like the bare basic shit. Um, but yeah, I couldn't tell you a lot. So I guess we'll just have to judge it based on the shows at this point. I remember more about the other show than I do about any of the games. Yeah, at this point, I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of curious as to where this goes. Like, how are they going to raise, pun intended, the stakes? How are they going to make things seem more intense? By the end, of course, because at the beginning you can get away with kicking things off slow, but like you've got to raise the stakes to a certain point because this is kind of acting as a sequel series to the other one. I don't know. I guess we're just going to kind of have to trust that they're going to make it work. But there's only 8 episodes of this, which is actually double what there was in season 1 of the first series. So let's see how this starts out, and maybe a season 2 will be on the horizon. Hopefully. But let's get this going and see what this first episode has in store for us. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume the video. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked up the voice cast for this first episode. I didn't want to get any spoilers for any other characters or information for future episodes. But just for this episode, I didn't recognize really anyone. Like, there are a couple of the VAs who have been in stuff that I've seen, or maybe seen some of, like Richard Dormer is, I guess, in Game of Thrones, but I don't know him from anything else. And I don't even think I know his character from Game of Thrones, because I never got that far into the series. But I must have just heard the name before. Just mentioned here and there. But yeah, no one else seemed to have been in anything that I know that I could tell, unless I missed something. But that's also just so far. There's going to be more characters coming, I'm sure, and maybe more that I can recognize coming forward. But yeah. So this was a pretty strong start. It definitely feels like a worthy follow-up so far from the first series. And I'm very interested to see where they take this. Because we have this supposed vampire messiah. Don't know entirely what this means, but the vampires have a Jesus figure that they seem to be rallying behind. This could mean a number of things, but we do know that there is at least a Forge Master working. Because we have seen some night creatures now. And apparently night creatures have not been seen for a long-ass time. I wonder if it's been since the last season's events. Has there not been a Forge Master since that time period? That'd be pretty interesting. But this story we're following Richter, the descendant of Trevor and presumably Sypha. Let's be honest, we know they were fucking. It didn't hide that. But it's very, very likely they had children together. So, and plus that actually kind of tracks too with the fact that the current day Belmonts also know magic. Like even before living with this current family, Maria's family, her and her mother, Richter knew magic as a kid when traveling with his mother and stuff. And his mother knew magic as well, so if Trevor and Sypha had gone together, like, you know, beyond what we saw and had children, yeah, that would make sense. That would track that of course it could also track that Sypha could have just taught Trevor's children. But honestly, I just feel it's pretty obvious that they stayed together and everything. So now, like I said, we have Richter. He's a descendant and an orphan. His mother is killed before him by a vampire named Orox. Who, by the way, I looked when looking up the voice actors. The voice actor for Orox looks just like him, or I guess Orox looks just like his actor. It's like I was looking at the picture it showed of the actor there. I'm like, oh my god, that is literally just him. It's wild. It's always fun seeing like an animated character look just like their actor. Um, I don't know much about the games that these come from. Like this is, I believe, Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, right? I think I might have played a little bit of Symphony of the Night, but I never played Rondo of Blood. So I don't know much of anything about these games. I don't know if like Orox is a character in them. But it wouldn't be like out of the question for him to face a redesign and to be redesigned to look like the VA is like something a lot of things have done. So again, it's not like out of the question or weird, but it just took me a little bit by surprise, and it's like, oh, okay. I still stand by that he's hot though. I don't know if anyone will agree with me on that. But I actually think Olrox is pretty damn attractive. Um, so yeah, Trevor is orphaned as a kid. He's probably like what, 12 years old then? And then it skips ahead. I don't remember the exact amount of years it said, but it skips ahead to the French Revolution. And Richter is now a young adult with his friend Maria, and they're on the side of the revolution, which is not like a big surprise for a Belmont. And at the same time, they're dealing with vampires that come, but one night three come at the same time, which is very rare that that kind of thing happens. So they go to the abbot and try to get him to help, and they do succeed. Um, though it's very clear that them and the abbot do not share a lot of the same beliefs and ideals. Uh, Meanwhile, the aristocrats are aristocrating all over the place, and of course that means that they are all vampires. Um, I forgot exactly what the position was of the one guy that they were going to look into, but yeah, he's a vampire. I don't think that the rest of the town knows that, but he's a vampire. Um, and they're just, piling up bodies of, poor innocent, just randos on the street, basically. Just capturing them, sucking their blood, having big old vampire blood sucking orgies and shit. Vampire shit. Um, but yeah, it's all for the sake of this supposed vampire messiah. Meanwhile, in the fight against the night creatures, Richter and them end up becoming overwhelmed because they don't know how to fight things like this, and end up getting saved by a couple of uh, witches, I guess is what they call them, from the Caribbean. These two come in and help them and tell them, yeah, we have information about this vampire messiah. So they're clearly going to be a big help, and I really like their designs already. They definitely stand out, and I'm very excited to see more of what they can do. Because they seem like they're a lot more knowledgeable. In the previous series, Trevor was actually pretty knowledgeable, not completely, but pretty knowledgeable. And in this one, we have Richter, who's definitely a lot more of a child-like soul in him. He's a bit of a goober, but he's not super knowledgeable about things, it seems. His attitude seems to be like, oh, vampires are evil, let's kill them, it's fun, having a good time. He doesn't seem to like have a lot of that history drilled into him that Trevor did, which is pretty interesting in and of itself. And part of that might come from the fact that he was orphaned at such a young age. But there also could be other reasons for that as well. Um, I'm just very curious to see what they do with this entire storyline. Because this is definitely different from what I would, I guess, expect. With the entire, again, Vampire Messiah storyline going on. But I'm in. Like this is the Castlevania that I came to enjoy with the previous series. It's like this is what I expected in terms of quality for this series to be like. So no qualms there about that. Definitely going to be interested to check out some reactions to this as well. I don't know if there's any already up, but definitely going to be looking. Also, I did read that season 2 has already been confirmed. That was confirmed last month in October. So yeah, we do have a season 2 coming sometime next year. Definitely gonna be pretty interesting to see like exactly where they go with all of this. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Castlevania Nocturne? Let me know, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.